Hey everyone, Emily with Bob's Watches. Today we're talking all about polishing your watch, how often to polish your watch, and whether or not you even want to polish your watch in the first place. Also, if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can stay up to date on all of our latest video content. Polishing your watch can sometimes be a tricky topic because personal preference plays a huge factor and there is no right or wrong answer that can be applied to all watches and people. With that in mind, there are certain things that are important to note when it comes time to polishing watches so that you can make the right decision when it comes time to polish or not to polish. For starters, what is polishing? As it pertains to watches, polishing is the process of altering the surface finish of components to achieve a desired aesthetic effect. There are many different types of surface finishing techniques, but the two most common types of polishing techniques that you will see on watches are high polishing, which creates a shiny mirror-like effect, and brushing, which is responsible for the matte, satin-finished texture that is seen on many sport and tool models. Although there are many different types of polishing techniques, the vast majority of them involve removing very tiny layers of the surface material, which is why polishing a watch is not something you can do at home and should only be performed by an experienced professional. So, who can polish a watch? To properly polish a watch, the movement needs to be taken out of the case and parts like the crown, bezel, and bracelet also need to be removed. Both the disassembly process and the actual polishing process itself requires the use of specialized tools and equipment, and even jewelers that are highly capable at polishing may not have all the necessary tools to disassemble and reassemble your watch. Should you decide to have your watch polished, it is recommended to only have it done by a watchmaker or someone who specializes in watches. Unlike a ring or bracelet, the case of a watch needs to be sealed against moisture and dirt, and a poorly done polishing job can actually permanently alter the shape of the components and prevent them from functioning. In many instances, polishing is included in the service process, and many watch brands and service centers will give your watch a full polish while they are servicing your movement and replacing your gaskets. A properly conducted polish can remove years of wear and leave a watch looking brand new, but not everyone wants to have a brand new looking watch, and in some instances, polishing your watch can actually decrease its value. So, should you polish your watch? The right answer to this question can depend a lot on the type of watch that you have, but it ultimately comes down to whether you prefer to have your watch looking fresh and brand new, or for it to show signs of age and the life that it has lived. If you own a watch that is maybe around 15 years old and has already been polished once or twice before, then there is no real harm in having it polished to restore its appearance. However, if you own a collectible vintage watch like a Rolex Submariner, Daytona, or GMT Master that has never once been polished since it was purchased brand new in the 1960s, then polishing it can actually significantly detract from its resale value. Many vintage collectors would prefer an unpolished watch, complete with all its marks and scratches, rather than the exact same one that had just been polished and was looking brand new. This is largely because it's incredibly uncommon to find a luxury watch that has existed for over half a century without ever being polished. And just like the patina on an ancient bronze sculpture, this untouched condition is a large part of its value and collectability. Additionally, some collectors simply prefer to leave their watches unpolished, not because they are interested in preserving resale value, but simply because they like how an unpolished watch reflects the life that it has lived, with each mark and scratch telling a story. Now, for those of you who prefer to have their watches looking brand new, how often should you have your watches polished and what can you expect? Because the polishing process involves the removal of tiny layers of material, it is crucial that you do not have your watch polished too often, as this can wear down the components faster and ultimately alter their shape in the long term. Generally speaking, it is recommended to only have your watch polished when you are getting it serviced, as this will virtually guarantee that it will only be performed by professionals with access to the proper tools and equipment. Additionally, since polishing is often included in the service process, this also saves you the additional expense of having to pay for a polish. It is important to note that not all marks and signs of damage can be remedied by polishing. The vast majority of the light scratches and scuffs that accumulate through normal wear and tear can all be easily removed, but deep scratches or dents cannot be remedied by polishing alone, although they can be significantly improved. At the end of the day, whether or not to have your watch polished is an entirely personal decision. For most timepieces, it will have very little, if any, impact on overall resale value, but it is still important to be aware of the potential impact it may have so that you can make the most informed decision possible. Lastly, it's important to note that you can't ever really unpolish a watch. Once a watch has been polished, it can never truly be in unpolished condition again, regardless of how many scratches it may accumulate. Therefore, if you are on the fence about polishing your watch, it may just be best to wait and keep thinking about it, because you can always have your watch polished at a later date if it is ultimately something you want to have done. Thanks for watching our video on whether or not to polish your watch. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can stay up to date on all of our latest video content.